Good afternoon and welcome to From Where We Are, stories of news and culture through the lens of USC and Southern California. I'm Fernando Cienfuegos, coming to you live from Studio B in USC's Annenberg Media Center.
And I'm Brian Sarabia. It's Wednesday, October 26th. On today's show, a deep dive into two props that will be on November's ballot, an exploration on the connection between hip-hop and violence, and coverage on the LA City Council meeting that censured council members who made racist remarks.
All that and more from Where We Are.
Pandemonium ensued at the LA City Council meeting this morning as the ad hoc censure committees voted 12-0 on a motion to censure Councilman Kevin De Leon and Gil Cedillo and former Council President Nury Martinez for their roles in the City Hall racism scandal. Ian Roddy has the story.
From the moment this morning's city council meeting began, a symphony of chaos erupted throughout the chamber as angry citizens called for Councilman Kevin De Leon to resign. The loud chanting, pounding, banging, and rattling would not cease until long after the council meeting.
He cannot be representative of a community that he broke a trust that can never be repaired.
That's Kenia Alcocer, a member of the LA Tenants Union. She spoke about the power of the city council in times like these.
And they do have the power to force him to resign. By having these meetings, they're encouraging him to not resign. By not shutting down the city and saying you have to resign, they're pushing him. By not getting creative and calling on to the governor and the president if necessary. We have to find a way where he gets out of here without the city having to spend money on his recall.
Not all LA residents want De Leon out of office, though. A few residents speaking in the Zoom portion of the meeting urged the council not to be pressured into it.
So there's no reason to basically remove him from these committees that he has been doing outstanding work. His record is there. All of you have his record for this last year and a half. So please reconsider what you are proposing today. I'm sorry, but I am quite emotional because we are going to be losing a very important representative.
City Council President Paul Krikorian, clearly bothered by the noise, asked several times for the protesters to quiet down to no avail. But he insisted still that it would not prevent the meeting from taking place.
Yesterday we demonstrated that the work of this council will not be deterred by distractions or disruptions. And I want to, again, thank the members of the council for enduring a very uncomfortable and difficult meeting yesterday.
The ad hoc censure committee still managed to conduct its meeting and unanimously passed a motion to censure De Leon, along with fellow councilman Gil Cedillo and former council president Nury Martinez, expressing severe disapproval of their racist remarks. For Annenberg Media, I'm Ian Roddy.
Since the reversal of Roe v. Wade, Los Angeles has positioned itself as a safe haven for reproductive rights. But several so-called crisis pregnancy centers have popped up throughout LA County. And as Rachel Hallett reports, the kind of services they provide don't necessarily have the reproductive rights someone might be looking for. And one LA official wants to change that.
At least 5 crisis pregnancy centers are active in LA as of August of this year. Women who are seeking information about abortions might find themselves at one of these crisis centers. And instead of learning about healthcare options, they are met by a counselor who tries to talk them out of it.
When it comes to a pregnancy, time is essential and truth is essential.
LA City Attorney Mike Feuer wants to keep women informed and says these crisis centers are aiming to mislead. That's why he introduced legislation that prevents these centers from using deceptive advertising and allows patients to sue organizations that have misinformed them. LA City Council passed Feur's legislation this week, and Feuer says this is a step in the right direction.
And that's what this ordinance is about. It's about deterring conduct that would mislead and empowering people who've been victimized, if they have been misled, to take action, so that there's not another victim later on.
This decision comes just 2 weeks before California votes on Proposition 1 in the midterm elections. If passed, Prop 1 could change the California Constitution to say that the state cannot deny or interfere with a person's reproductive freedom, like the right to abortion. Could this legislation be an indication of how Angelenos will vote in November? Catherine Cohen of UCLA's Center for Reproductive Health believes that seeing people in power, like the city attorney, taking a stand on reproductive rights can have a massive effect on public perception.
But it's also just valuable for people in positions of power, like the city attorney or the state legislature, or the governor. We've seen doing a lot of this too, to make really clear statements that they support abortion rights and that they're not going to put up with the kinds of policies that we're seeing introduced by anti-choice legislators in other states. I think that has a really powerful anti-stigma effect. And it's also just valuable because people are very confused about what the law is right now. And so I think getting the message out that abortion remains safe and legal in California and in LA County is a really important piece of public education.
But opponents of Prop 1 believe it to be extreme, expensive, and unnecessary. Catherine Hadro, spokesperson for No on Prop 1, worries about the strain this type of legislation could have on the state's healthcare system.
We're seeing the governor place commercials in Florida and Texas telling people to come to California. We just recently saw him place billboards in 7 other states telling women to come to California for abortions. Late-term abortions take place in hospitals. They are expensive and they are very serious procedures. When you invite that kind of out-of-state chaos into our already overburdened hospital system, that's going to be an impact that every single Californian feels when it comes to their healthcare. And so we're saying there are issues here in California that we need to have addressed. Abortion is going to remain legal here in California. This is a non-problem that we're throwing money at, and it's our taxpayer money.
But Feuer doesn't see it that way. He sees legislation as essential in securing reproductive freedom.
And I want to ensure that in Los Angeles, no woman is misled when it comes to exercising these most intimate choices.
Because Feuer attached an urgency clause to this legislation, this law is expected to take effect after Mayor Garcetti signs it. For Annenberg Media, I'm Rachel Hallett.
Prop 1 is on the midterm election ballot and will be decided Tuesday, November 8th.
Prop 31 is also on the ballot this midterm election as California's latest attempt to ban the sale of flavored tobacco products. Shreya Agarwal has the story.
Flavored tobacco products are the rage amongst young people. In fact, recent studies show more than 2 million kids from middle school through high school in California currently use e-cigarettes. And 80% of those kids started out with a flavored tobacco product. Darcy Green is the executive director of Latinas Contra Cancer. She says flavored tobacco products specifically target children.
I participated in a press conference a few weeks ago for Yes on 31, and there was one of the panelists in the press conference. He said, we don't need piña colada or horchata flavored tobacco any more than we need piña colada or horchata flavored cleaning supplies.
Youth use of tobacco in California was really going in the right direction, was decreasing. And then we saw just a surge in vaping, and especially vaping these flavored products that more youth were becoming addicted to tobacco again.
Kelly Hardy agrees. She's a senior managing director at Children Now in LA.
Big tobacco companies do target youth, and especially youth of color, and try to get them hooked on the product that is going, that then they can be addicted to for the rest of their life. And it shortens the lives, especially of Black and brown folks.
And this isn't the first time tobacco companies have marketed to communities of color. Since the 1950s, tobacco companies specifically marketed menthol cigarettes in Black communities. Dr. Philip Gardiner is the co-chair of the African American Tobacco Control Leadership Council. For the past 20 years, he's been trying to get menthol cigarettes off the market, for good.
We already knew then that menthol was the main killer of African Americans, had been for decades, remains so today. When you look at it, the main killer, heart attacks, strokes, and cerebral vascular disease, are brought about by smoking, and the main thing that is the vector into our community have been menthol cigarettes. There are more promotions and advertisings in our community. They are cheaper in our community. We actually have data that shows this.
Dr. Gardner says, after World War II, many companies in the U.S. started making special food products and care products aimed at the Black community, including menthol cigarettes.
And it became clear that possibly there would be a market where you could particularize different smokes for different folks. Brown and Williamson in the 1950s and the late 1950s held a series of focus groups among Black and white smokers and found that advertising for menthol cigarettes resonated greater with African Americans, to which they put a good 90% of their budget into television advertising.
In 1950, less than 10% of Black smokers used menthol cigarettes, but today, more than 85% do.
But the tobacco industry is showing Black faces on TV, smiling, smoking menthol cigarettes, smoking cool cigarettes, and stuff like this. This was a way to make money off lives of Black people, and it worked so effectively that they kept doing it.
Opponents of Prop 31 say there are problems with the measure. Beth Miller is a spokesperson for the No on 31 campaign. She sent us a statement that said the politicians who wrote Prop 31 say it will reduce underage tobacco use, but it is already illegal to sell any tobacco products to anyone under the age of 21 in California. She went on to say the ban would impose a total prohibition on products that millions of adults choose to use, and would ban the sale of many FDA-authorized alternatives for adult cigarette smokers, which would cause serious and lasting damage to tobacco harm reduction goals. Miller also says it will increase crime and expand illegal markets, but Dr. Gardner disagrees.
Menthol cigarettes and flavored cigarettes have been banned in many cities throughout California and around the country. No illicit market has arisen. None. People keep talking about that, but that has not arisen. In Canada, which outlawed it nationally and in all its provinces, starting in 2018 and I think culminating in 2020, no illicit market has arisen.
Darcy Green thinks the failure to ban flavored tobacco products can seriously risk the lives of kids.
Right? We as adults have choices, right? We can drive to other communities, right? We can order things online. We have choices. Children have the choices we put in front of them.
For Annenberg Media, I am Shreya.
Assemblymember Wendy Carrillo announces a $17.2 million grant for a mental health center for immigrants who have gone through war trauma or family separation. Tatiana Satoa reports.
As the only Salvadorian elected in legislature, it is of great importance to Assemblywoman Wendy Carrillo to be able to represent her community. Carrillo was born during the Salvadoran Civil War, which caused her and her family to flee the U.S. when she was 5. She grew up 20 minutes away from the U.S. campus in the local neighborhood of Boyle Heights. There, she didn't have access to great health care and was a Medi-Cal recipient. So when she stepped into office, she strove for change.
When you run for office and you represent the community that you grew up in and you share certain values, once you're at the table to be able to make decisions about your community, you have to show up.
Clinica Romero is a clinic across LA County that serves physical and mental health needs for Salvadorian, Central American, and other Latino communities. It is specifically geared towards those of mixed-status families and families without legal status.
It's important that the specific needs, such as the Civil War trauma, is addressed for the Salvadorian American community, and that we figure out a way in which we no longer think about mental health as a stigma.
The effort wasn't a gift overnight. She led many delegations and an international trip to El Salvador with Governor Gavin Newsom to make these funds possible.
And so it's been a while in the making, and sometimes policy takes time. And so we had an incredible budget in which we were able to allocate these specific funds for Clinica Romero.
This is a huge help to support services for an underrepresented community, ensuring that the members not only have their physical needs taken care of, but now their mental ones as well. For Annenberg Media, I'm Tatiana Satawa.
The death of rapper PNB Rock was the latest in a worrying relationship between the hip-hop industry and violence. What might the future of the industry look like? Taylor Contarino reports.
The recent death of Philadelphia rapper PNB Rock left fans and industry professionals scrambling to find a solution to violence in the music industry. Richard Parrott, CEO of Global Money World, a music blog, found out about the tragedy minutes after it happened on social media.
I feel like I kind of caught it kind of like in real time. Like I got like a text saying that he got shot. Unfortunately, that's not uncommon anymore. And then unfortunately, I went on Twitter and then I seen a video of his last moments.
Professor Jay Deal is a composer, arranger, music producer, and a professor at USC's Thornton School of Music, who hopes that some of the industry's elites can pave a way for a safer music industry.
You'll see rappers like Snoop Dogg, Ice-T, people who've been around for a long time, denounce gangster activity, violence, and say that was a part of their artistry early on, but now they've evolved and they can see a bigger picture. Then they take younger rappers under their wing and mentor them, and if they last long. So I feel that a lot of the healing can come from the actual rappers in a community amongst themselves.
Professor Sean Knight is a musicologist and a professor at USC's Thornton School of Music. A major concern he has cited has been the related rise of violence, specifically in Los Angeles.
It seems to be happening in Los Angeles most often, and what is it about? What is going on with that? Getting long where I just worry also for the kind of mental well-being of, like you're saying, in terms of worries, a fan, the loss of artists like this, this occurred in rock where, there was even that discussion of the 27 Club artist who had passed away at age 27.
Yeah.
And that had happened in rock, and it was felt as this tragic kind of generational experience.
Violence in the hip-hop music community has been apparent in the past couple of years. In the 1990s, Tupac Shakur and the Notorious Big were caught in the fires of it. Over the past several years, we have witnessed the deaths of artists such as Nipsey Hussle, Pop Smoke, Young Dolph, and most recently, PNB Rock. Hip-hop has shaped the culture in America, with the musical and cultural contributions of hip-hop's icons paving the way for future generations, inspiring and giving hope to the youth. Looking forward, we hope for a brighter future that protects not only the creative property of musicians, but also the musicians themselves. For Annenberg Media, I'm Taylor Contarino.
This is not a drill. After a 6-year hiatus, Rihanna returns to music this Friday with the song off the Black Panther Wakanda Forever soundtrack. Ashley Wynn has the story.
The day has come, people. Rihanna is back with an announcement for a new song titled Lift Me Up for the new Marvel movie Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Lift Me Up is Rihanna's first song as the lead artist since 2016, written in collaboration with Nigerian singer and producer Tems, producer Ludwig Göransson, and director of the film Ryan Coogler. According to a press release, Rihanna, Tems, Göransson, and Coogler wrote Lift Me Up as a tribute to Chadwick Boseman, the star of the first Black Panther film who died in 2020 of cancer. Fans have anxiously awaited Rihanna's return to music, as the pop icon has been on musical hiatus since her last full-length release, Anti, in 2016. Here's Kiende Adebimbe, a senior majoring in cinema studies, with her thoughts on hiatuses.
I mean, if someone needs to take a hiatus, it's good to stay out of the spotlight, to give yourself some space, and she's been working on her businesses, so that's a lot to handle. So, yeah.
Indeed, Rihanna has been hard at work these past 6 years, growing her makeup and lingerie brands, Fenty and Savage X Fenty, respectively. But in September, it was announced that she would be headlining the 57th Super Bowl halftime show next February 12th, continuing assumptions of her apparent return to music. Carla Ortega, a junior studying communication, thinks the Super Bowl halftime show is the perfect stage for possible new music.
That's like the perfect platform to promote that on. So many people are going to be watching, and I feel like if anything she doesn't promote it, I feel like people are just going to be going crazy because that's all they're expecting from her.
As for what we can expect sonically or thematically from Rihanna,
I'm not too sure. I mean, most of the big stars have been coming out with electronic dance music, like Drake and Beyonce. Yeah, so maybe something like that, or something dedicated to her newborn baby.
I feel like it's just going to be an explosive soundtrack, if that makes sense. So I feel like it's just going to be pumped up, and, you're going to just see, how she's been kind of holding back, and she's just going to, let everything go now. I feel like she makes really great music, and I feel like her vibe goes with Black Panther. So I think it's going to be, it's not going to be disappointing.
Lift Me Up will be available on all streaming platforms this Friday, October 28th. The full Black Panther Wakanda Forever soundtrack will be out November 4th. For Annenberg Media, I'm Ashley Wynn.
It's that time of year again. Halloween is right around the corner, and while the holiday may fall on a Monday this year, that isn't stopping students from celebrating spooky season all weekend long. Brooklyn Blastix showcases 3 events for scaredy cats and horror enthusiasts alike.
All right, Trojans. First up, on Thursday night, USC Recreational Sports is hosting Train or Treat in the Lion Center. The event will feature ghoulish toning exercises, horrifying cycling sessions, and zombie skating, complete with a DJ and a costume contest. Because, at the end of the day, there's nothing scarier than working out.
Isn't that romantic? He was willing to throw everything away for love.
Well, now he's broke, dead, and cursed. Nice move.
Alumni Park will possess the All Hallows Eve spirit on Friday night, as Late Night SC will be hosting a screening of The Haunted Mansion. The event will also offer ice cream and cookie decorating, welcoming anyone brave enough to sit through a campy 90s comedy. Finally, on Saturday night, the Black Student Assembly's Creative Experience team has a show-stopping event planned within the Thrift Zone. For anyone that slays their Halloween costume each year, Horror Noir offers a costume fashion show that anyone can walk in. The event, which is also offering live music, is an opportunity for Black artists to showcase their talent while simultaneously helping attendees get into the Halloween spirit. Whether you're too old for trick-or-treating or too scared to embrace the spooky and scary ghosts and goblins, there is something for everyone to participate in this Halloween weekend. To learn more about these events, go check out at USC Campus Activities and at HorrorXNoir on Instagram. For Annenberg Media, I'm Brooklyn Blazek.
Where we are. This show was produced by Guilherme Guerreiro and Jeffrey Lee.
Fernando Cienfuegos is our technical operator, and Derek Renfro composed our theme music. Be sure to check us out on YouTube at Annenberg Radio News.
Also, follow us on Instagram at Annenberg Radio and subscribe to From Where We Are on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And if you're looking for even more news, be sure to download Annie, Annenberg's news app. I'm Fernando Cienfuegos.
And I'm Brian Sarabia. From all of us at Annenberg Radio, wherever you are, we hope you'll join us